Good afternoon, everyone. I thank Ms. Jayanti and the Industrial Economist team for giving me and Hand in Hand this opportunity to present a very small case study about how we as a not-for-profit organization contribute towards and do our bit towards the circular economy. So I have a very small presentation, about 10-15 minutes long, and I'll walk you through it, and happy to take your questions whenever the organizers guide me on that. So this is, I think first I just want to comment on the title. I think the title thought by the team was very, very appropriate. I felt it was a very well thought through title. So the next slide. I know you've heard a lot about the topic since morning, but I just wanted to talk about our approach and how we look at the circular economy, and how I found this definition by the Ellen MacArthur Foundation to be one of the most appropriate, because they talk about how we can't be linear, but we need to move towards a more zero waste or no waste model in every aspect, in every industry, and also as individuals. So they take three broad principles. One is how to eliminate waste, and how to circulate products, and the last is how to regenerate nature. And through Hand in Hand, we actually use these exact same three principles with our projects in the ground, and come up with solutions at scale. So you could check out their website for more information on how they discuss about the circular economy, because it will give you a wealth of knowledge across any topics that you're interested in. The next slide, please. So you may wonder, how is this topic relevant to a not-for-profit organization? And I just wanted to put that into perspective in the next slide. And so why did people start talking about the circular economy? One of the reasons is climate change. And intrinsically, I think everything we do and every action we take is now related to climate, because we can all feel the effects of it. And as with many things, very disproportionately, it is people who are living at the bottom of the pyramid and poorer sections of society who are affected by climate change. Further, and not-for-profit organizations work with these communities. So we do grassroots work, advocacy, we implement projects in the field, and we also partner both with corporates, with government, to bring about sustainable change. We want to bring about clean environment, we want to reduce waste. So we do have a role to play in this circular economy by working with communities, and with communities who need it the most. So I think that's where we plug in this loop, and I wanted to put that in perspective. The next slide. So next slide introduces Hand in Hand. So many of you may not know who we are. So we are a not-for-profit organization. It was started by Dr. Kalpana Sankar in 2004. In 2004, we started in Kanchipuram with the primary objective of putting children who are employed in the silk weaving looms, child laborers and bonded laborers, back into school. But it's then when she realized that obviously it was poverty that was the root cause that was making these children work as child laborers. So the model very early on in 2004-2005 evolved into a 5-pillar program for poverty alleviation. So we work in 5 areas: women empowerment and job creation, child labor elimination and education, skill development, access to healthcare, and environment through solid and sustainable waste management and natural resource management. In the next slide, I've just very broadly spoken about our impact. And as an organization, we believe that you may do pilots that are small and successful, but unless you do them at scale, you really won't have the impact. And in some of the cases, we've done projects at scale, and some of the policies have also been taken on by local governments, and they've institutionalized it. So we believe in being an organization that demonstrates impact at scale. So that's why you may see our numbers are quite staggering in terms of the jobs created. We've reached out to more than 8 million women with jobs, self-help group women. We have run 6 residential schools for child and bonded laborers, school dropout children. We've put 370,000 children back into formal education. We've won a President's Award for this particular achievement. We've worked with the government by upgrading health infrastructure like Anganwadis and hospitals. We do tree plantation, organic farming, solid waste management. I'll get into those in the coming slides. So just wanted to give you an overview of our work and the impact. So coming to the topic on the circular economy and how we fit, basically through our solid waste management and natural resource management activities, we quite align with what we talk about with circularity. The next slide. So in solid waste management, so I'm sure all of you are aware what solid waste management is, so I'm not going into the details of that, but I want to really talk about our model. So in 2007-2008, we initiated this pillar, and we work with predominantly municipalities, and we championed people called Green Friends from the bottom of the pyramid, mostly vulnerable, marginalized community, women, mostly some men, and we encouraged them and trained them on the importance of segregation of waste at source. So at the cusp of circular economy is to reduce waste. So we encourage these Green Friends to go door to door and collect segregated waste. You're seeing that today probably in your households you have the 3 color buckets, but we've been doing this since 2007-2008 in the areas we work. So our model is not to segregate for the communities, but rather encourage them to segregate from home. And what makes this very different is when you start segregating your waste, you become a more conscious citizen. If you realize there's a lot of food waste over a week, 2 weeks, maybe you can just consume less food. That's an easy action you can take on your part to make that difference. Similarly, if you're seeing a lot of plastic waste or seeing a lot of cardboard boxes, did you really need to order those things online? Can you reuse some of the things that you already had? So once people start taking responsibility for the waste they're generating, then the waste automatically comes down. And of course, when they start segregating as a community, they become very it becomes more sustainable, because through our model we've seen the waste ending up at landfills is just 15%, 80% of it is segregated. And we work currently in about 6 states, in some municipalities like Karaikal, Rameshwaram, the north near Noida, mostly in peri-urban sort of communities, not in proper urban communities, and we see that this model has been quite effective. Aside from segregation of waste at source, we've also done some pilots on waste to wealth initiatives. Like we have in Mamallapuram, for instance, we were running the project earlier, not anymore, but the Resource Recovery Park still exists, where the food waste collected from the several hotels in the Mamallapuram stretch have been converted to energy and through a biogas generator plant, and it feeds to electrify that region. In a more recent initiative relating to plastic waste, we've been running a project the last couple of years called the Waves of Change along the coast. And in this project, we've been collecting plastic waste in the coast and other waste, segregating it, and actually we are encouraging women to upcycle them and become entrepreneurs. So through this, we've reached out to about 1,200 women, and they've increased their income about 15%. So just trying to not only stem the waste, but also see how people who can really economically benefit from it as well. So to help both the environment and also the communities. Next slide. Just to touch a little bit more on the plastic waste, some of the other models, so door-to-door collecting at an individual household level is one thing, but when you go to public spaces, it's something else altogether. So we have had a couple of, just some case studies on what we do, like the bulk plastic waste, some of it which we collect close to 2,500 megatons, we give it to the cement factories so they can use it for fuel purposes. Large-scale dustbins, so even people at large can segregate waste specifically for plastic, have separate dustbins for plastic. So this is just some of the activities that we've done. The next slide, I just want to talk about advocacy. As important as it is to do these activities in the field, we believe, and I personally believe, that the younger generation, especially school children and high schoolers, are the future decision makers. They're going to be industry leaders, and if they have the mindset not only of circularity but just being very conscious citizens from early on, they will take the right decisions in the future if they want to have a world for them to live in, which is safe and clean. So we do a lot of advocacy and awareness programs. This QR code campaign has been quite successful. Currently it's in Mamallapuram and Ooty, but soon you'll see it in your neighborhood, Gindi Park, and few other public spots where public people can learn, just scan the QR code, do a quiz and learn more about plastic, and they get a small incentive if they get all the answers right, but it's more for creating awareness on the problem. We have a lot of like Kuppai carnivals in schools and college level and school level programs. Yeah, so this, next slide. These are all under solid waste management, but the next part I think is focusing on nature, which is through our natural resource management activities. So when it comes to circular economy, what the minimum I've understood doing just some reading and aligning with our work is that there's no waste in nature, because even if a leaf falls down, it just goes into the earth, it composts in its own way and goes back, and it is a loop. So there's a loop in nature that exists already. I think we've come and disrupted that drastically. So, sorry, there's one slide before this. Yeah, so we do two things when it comes to natural resources. One is we focus on soil, and the other thing is we focus on water. So when it comes to soil, the buzzword now is regenerative farming. So that basically means you regenerate you don't exploit the farmland, you basically give it all the inputs it needs to get its original nutrients back and shift to organic farming and other soil-friendly farming methods, if I may say so. So the farmer gets a better yield, and we're getting closer back to nature. So we do that. We have farmers, producers, organizations. We help them with forward and backward linkages. So we empower the farmer, but we also protect Mother Earth. The next slide, we do the same thing with water. With water, we help create large areas. We've covered almost 840,000 cubic meters of water holding capacity through all these farms. We help restore and revive the groundwater in these regions. So communities have access to this water, and they have a safe place to store the water without letting it be run off, so they use it for whatever they need. So these are two of the things we do under natural resource management. And I think there's just one more slide, and that slide talks about us as an organization. I think as a not-for-profit, we try to take conscious decisions in everything. For example, previously Dr. Ashwin spoke about how can you use the right building material, can we reuse some material. So we do work with a lot of civil engineering projects in partnership with government and CSR. For instance, we don't always go for new construction. We try to refurbish hospitals, we redo Anganwadis, we try to reuse whatever we can even in our project site. And I think as an organization and as a not-for-profit, we really have to be the catalyst for change if we want to bring about change and move towards a more circular economy. And we're in a unique position to do that because we have the community connect. We connect with corporates, we connect with the government as well. So as an, you can go to the next slide, as an integrated sort approach, I think there's a lot of potential for even the not-for-profit community to contribute to a more circular economy. So that's an overview of what we do. So if you have any questions, yeah, that's it. Thank you.